Hi, I'm Doug here at Global West, and today I'm working in the back, and we happen to be working on a '66 Mustang Convertible. Today we're going to be installing subframe connectors on the '66. So we thought it would be a good opportunity to take the time to show you how we install the subframe connectors and what tips you need to getting the subframes installed properly on a convertible. So let's go ahead and get started, and we'll show you how we put it on this Mustang. Now, the part number for this is a 910C. This is kind of what they look like here. And there's a right and a left. So you got a driver and a passenger side. And what we're going to do is these install on the frame rails here, like so. And what we want to do is we want to move this subframe connector as far back as we can so that when we tap the back box up onto the frame rail, this gets really tight. Now, one thing about a convertible that's totally different than a standard Mustang is this boxed area right here. Only convertibles have that. And this is what Ford did to stiffen the floor up, obviously because there's no roof. So on our subframe connectors, we build a round tube, as you can see. And the reason why we do that is round tube is for torsional rigidity. It's far superior over square. You know, look at roll cages and things of that nature, airplane frames, you know, for the older planes. They were all built out of round tube. Formula cars back in the day were round tube. So round tube is for torsional rigidity. You're putting a subframe connector on for torsional rigidity. So that's why we always do them in round rather than in square. Now the other thing too is we don't want to cut the floor up. We want this subframe connector to tuck up nice and tight, follow the floor without cutting into the floor. So that's another reason why we build subframe connectors the way we do, because we don't want to take away from the integrity of the floor to add the subframe. The 910C will come and touch right along here all the way. Now it's not going to rattle, there's not going to be any noises. This is a welded component. These are spot welded in from the factory. There's nothing going anywhere. And we're going to tie the front and back together to give it additional strength to get rid of this flexing. So on a 910C, we're going to go ahead and buff this area all the way around and get the powder coat off the subframes and on the back box. And then we're going to mark up here on the forward box and on the back frame rail where we have to buff the paint, undercoating, whatever's there, and get clean material so we can weld. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so what I'm going to do is tap this up. I use a dead blow, so you can see it goes nice and tight there. And I go to the back and I do the same thing. And a lot of times the subframe connector will just sit there. And you notice how nice and tight it is right here, all the way through. Your areas that you got to look at is right here and right here next to the frame in the back here. This area right here. And we want that as tight as possible. And by moving the subframe connector as far back as we can, gets us as tight as possible, because it follows up the back of the frame rail in the back and pulls it up tight. So once I've got this in position, I'm going to be marking this so I know where to clean. On the front subframe now, you're only going to weld on 3 sides. These here, across the bottom, not across the top. If you choose to weld across the top, you'll have to pull the interior out. And we found that these subframes, the way this goes on these unibodies here, this is ample. There's more than enough strength in the way we do this. You're not going to develop cracks or anything of the kind. If I was racing the car and I was building a different scenario for a Mustang, and it surely wouldn't be a convertible, then we would go ahead and buzz the whole area all the way around. Of course, the interior is out of it. We're putting a roll cage in. It's a whole other story. But for street application, even autocross or whatever, it's not necessary to do that. We have more than enough here to hold this subframe connector. So 3 sides, and you don't have to pull the carpet. All right, now I'm going to go in the back and I'll mark that area off. So our welded areas here are going to be across the top and down these sides right here. This back area here, there's going to be a square plate that goes on the back side. It's the last thing we do, and we'll show you how that goes on. But once we mark this, this gives our area where we got to buff all the paint and what have you off and the undercoating. Okay, that's it. And this area right here, when you have this installed correctly, this on the back square box is going to butt up nice against the frame rail where it curves right here. Now we're not going to weld all the way across because you won't be able to, but you'll be able to bring it around the corner and go in probably 3/8 of an inch on each side because of the tube. And that's more than enough. Okay, now that we have it marked, we're going to go ahead and mark the other side, and we're going to start buffing them, getting them cleaned up. As you can tell, we've got everything prepped front and rear. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this up for real. We've got everything marked off. We know where everything goes. We're going to shove this as far back as possible so it goes as tight to the floor as it can get. Remember, the final installation is you move this as far back as you can, which moves the back mount up on the frame, which pulls this up tight against the floor. You want it as tight as you can get it. And as for buffing the frame in the back here, you will have to take the back tire off so you can get to the inside of the frame next to the leaf spring. As you can see, that's already been done as we buff this. So now that we've got this in position, all we really have to do now is weld it. So that's our next step. So let us go ahead and get started on welding this up. All right, we've pretty much got most of the welding done. As you can see here, the front's already welded in. We weld on, like I said, not on the top, but down the sides, across, and up the other side. And on the back here, what I want you to notice is in this particular area there's going to be an air gap. And we want to have an air gap there. Do not try welding that all the way through. And the reason why is because we need a drain for water. In case any water gets in through here, it's got to be able to have a place to escape. So we deliberately leave that open right through there. As you can see, it's welded. The back section is almost done. We've got it welded to the frame, but there's a back plate that will show you. It's a cover plate that goes on the very end, and we're going to show you where that goes, and that has to be capped off. Once we get that done, then it's a matter of just cleaning up this area through here, prepping it, getting it ready to paint, touch it up with some paint, and we should pretty well have it. All right, at the back, now in the kit, you're going to have two plates. They look like this. There's one for each side. Now what these are, in the back of the subframe, there's a gap right here. And these are a filler plate that's going to go in here like this. And we're going to weld that in. We give these to you a little bit on the big side, so you're going to have to trim it to fit exactly how it forms here. We deliberately do that because there's always a variable on how you install this. So what I'll do is I'll put this on here and I'm going to mark it of what I need to do to square this off. I'll shorten this up, get this to fit nice and flush on the back so it fits right here, and then we're going to weld that. Once I get these two plates on, and as you can see the box and everything is already done, on the inside and out, then we're pretty much done welding. We just got to clean these areas up and finish the painting. So let me go ahead. I'm going to buff these down, adjust them to fit, and we'll finish this up. Okay, so I went ahead and modified it to fit. And as you can see, this is going to go right up here like this. It's going to cap it off, just like that. So that's what we have to weld on there to finish this side. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, we've gone ahead and completed the project. Now, some things we need to say. Number one, I don't know if you noticed in the video or not, but the car is on a drive-on lift. When we do subframe connectors, we want the car fully loaded as if it was on the ground. So we usually do them on a drive-on lift, and when we lifted the rear end up to pull the tires to make it easier for us to weld in the back section for the subframe connector to the frame, it was supported by the differential, which basically simulates the car still on the ground. We want to make sure that any flexing that the car has done when it was originally put together, the door jamb set, everything remains the same. When we add the subframe connectors, we're making everything stay in the same place it was when we started. If you lift the vehicle up and support it in a different manner when you're putting the subframe connector on, because these actually do work, you could have a situation where the car no longer is adjusted properly. We've seen it where guys have done this, and like the door jambs aren't exactly right after that, or whatever, only because their car was flexing so much that after the subframes were installed, it held wherever they were installed at, whatever deflection was occurring. So the key in putting a subframe connector on something as strong as these is make sure that the car is fully loaded. You want the engine in, the tranny in, fully loaded. This is kind of like one of the last things you do. If you were building a race car and you had it on a rotisserie or something of that nature, obviously throw them on at any time, preferably right when you're building the roll cage. So, subframe connectors, as I stated before, make sure they're fully loaded. The welding, we don't weld on the top. In the front, down the sides, across here. In the back, you weld all the way around. We'll show you how that looks as it's completed, and also the front. One other thing you should notice is that these subframes on a convertible, this is 1 5/8 roll cage tubing. It's 1020 DOM. It is roll cage tubing. You can use these to lift the car with. If you were working on the vehicle and put jack stands underneath these things, you don't have a problem whatsoever. These will support anything you throw at it. There's one more thing I'd like to say. These subframes tuck up real tight on the convertible floor. And we have a lot of people ask us, well, if I put a subframe connector on, I'm going to lose a lot of ground clearance. That's actually not the case. Once you put these subframes on properly, like we showed you how to do, your exhaust system almost always is going to be lower than the subframe. I truly haven't seen anything else that wasn't. The subframes tuck up that tight. So this is a 910C, which is for convertible. Now we do make them for the coupes and what have you and fastbacks, and it's a 910. The C stands for convertible, so 910C is going to be your part number. So now that we've showed you how to install these on a 64 through 66 convertible, check it out as we show you a little bit of how they look.